Good day to all of you. We are here for another pod. Thank you for supporting us. We got nearly 150 views on our previous pod. The Rohit Sharma one made 100 views. We are very glad with your continued support. It's at least consistent, so it shows that there is an interest here and there is some engagement, and we thank you profusely for this. Some from
Yes,
Nikhil as well.
yes, but please drag other people to watch.
Now, regarding a retirement. We did one on Rohit Sharma, but I feel that for as great a player as Kohli was, is, and will be, he deserves a complete podcast. So this is going to be a podcast on Virat Kohli, the player, the supernova, the star, everything. A man who basically made many people fall in love with cricket. I got into cricket even before Kohli. I've seen Tendulkar, I've seen Ganguly, I've seen Dravid, but I completely understand the effect he had on the young Indian mind, especially if you are a teenager growing up in the 2010s. He mesmerized you in a way that you you can't describe. There are some knocks that we will go through, but some from Nikhil as well. Why not pay a tribute to him?
Yeah, listen, the biggest compliment I can give him is to have continuity of the sort that we had, where Gavaskar goes from 71 to 87. Tendulkar
Yes,
arrives in 89. Tendulkar leaves in
yes.
2011, by which time Kohli is already 2013, by which time
13,
Kohli is already
13,
made it.
13.
By which time Kohli has already made his debut. That's how high I rate him. He's in that legacy of continuity. Overall test batsman, you will come and we'll there are nitpicks to be made, whatever it is. But in terms of the 70s and 80s are the era of Gavaskar and Kapil, and you can pick whichever
Yes,
you want.
yes.
90s 2000s are the era of Tendulkar. So 90s and 2000s is, I mean, the Tendulkar era in terms of what he does to Indian cricket, the money
Yeah,
he brings in, the eyeballs he brings in, and all of that. And
yes,
you could
yes,
you go from being a a country that's been bullied around to a country that will now refuse to be bullied around,
yeah,
and have monetarily and tactically usurped power within the ICC to yourself, and
yes,
slowly are trying to assert that power. If at that time you don't get a Kohli, right?
yeah, yeah,
You don't get a player that can completely capture the imagination of world cricket all over again.
yes,
Perhaps your power doesn't translate in the same way. IPL, of course, was
yes,
there, but
yes.
you could not have translated the power in the same way because you could not have built a great team. You could not have built uh, the sort of seismic numbers that we are seeing on just the money side. Kohli's been a
Yeah.
huge part of the third most followed athlete on Instagram. I mean, to me, whenever I hear that stat, to me, that's almost insulting to hear about a guy like Virat, because that's not how I measure a cricketer like Kohli. But these
No, but
things
the impact,
mattered.
but the
Yeah, these
impact
things
does
mattered.
matter
So,
for the
such
newest
an
generation.
impactful player. And so, in that sort of legacy train that you look at from Gavaskar, Kapil, Sachin, Virat is, if Indian cricket had a Mount Rushmore, he'd be on it. He's that big
He
a
should
man,
be on it. He should be on it
right?
just for the sheer impact.
There are genuinely great Test match innings. See, the thing with Virat is there are these sort of audacious innings, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
there are very few where you just feel like total backs to the wall, single-handed effort, maybe one or two. Tendulkar used to have a litany of those. Tendulkar was so much better than his peers. Yet he used to have a
yeah,
litany of those. Like Gavaskar was the same. He used to have a litany of those innings where it's just Gavaskar.
yeah,
Kohli
yeah,
is batting in a better era for India, right? Because there's better
yeah.
cricketers around him. Pujara is established before Kohli as a Test
Yes,
match
yes,
batsman,
yes,
right?
yes.
Maybe that's one complaint I will later have with the Kohli captaincy. Messed around with Pujara a little bit, but that's a different matter. But there are patches of batsmanship, right? There's like a 45 minutes here or an hour and a half to other, just absolute apex batsmanship, like proper apex predator batsmanship. uh
Let me actually describe him. If Let me put it this way. There's a comparison I thought apt, especially when I was seeing the 2014-15 series Australia versus India. That series for me highlighted and eventually came to characterize the two alphas. Steve Smith on the Australian side and Kohli on the Indian side. Steve Smith is the epitome of an immovable rock. You cannot get him out unless you're absolutely
As
perfect.
well as Kohli has batted, Steve Smith's always outbatted him in a series. It's insane.
Exactly my point.
It is ridiculous.
Exactly my
It
point.
is insane. Even in Kohli's peak series, somehow Smith goes and makes that extra 100, those extra runs.
Yeah, yeah.
Kohli and Smith for a long time was a story written together until it went apart, right? Like until it drifted apart.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
Virat Kohli may be guilty in the eyes of the purists of some very aggressive behavior on cricket field.
I don't mind
Uh,
it. I
no,
never
no,
minded it
like I said, to the purists,
to the purists.
uh, some very aggressive behavior on the cricket field. But he is never going to walk into the cricket field with sandpaper in his pocket. That's the big
Never,
difference,
never, never.
right? He loves this sport too much. The value of Test cricket for him is too high. Listen, Virat Kohli, if he had chosen the Test cricket, didn't mean so much to him, and all the money making meant more to him. I promise you, we're not even playing Test matches a year. Then we'd be
Yeah,
lucky
yeah.
if we were playing 9 or 10 Test matches a year.
Yeah, yeah. I
Very
am pretty
lucky.
sure if yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure if he had not spoken on the value of test cricket somewhere in 2016, 2017,
No, no,
the
even earlier.
no, no, that
Listen,
was when he was captain.
the day
That
he
was when he
got
was
his
captain.
captaincy, the day he
Yeah,
got
yeah.
his captaincy, he was crystal clear. This is it. This format matters so much to me.
Yes.
And
The thing is,
he's that seismic that for Indian cricket, and if Indian cricket was not going to play that many Test matches, right? Then I don't think the others were going to play that many Test matches. How do you afford it? Because then it'll just be the Ashes. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but,
No,
uh,
for
truly
me,
amazing.
no, no, for me, if he hadn't done such a declaration for Test cricket, we would not have a WTC today. I'm that clear about that. Meaning the WTC would not be in the way that it is today. The WTC wouldn't matter as much as it does today. It does matter, and it matters in a very
So
complex, convoluted fashion.
I'll be the negative Nelly on that one. I don't like the WTC. I don't like the format. I don't like the unevenness. It can't be a real competition if all teams aren't playing the same number of tests in similar conditions. That is not how you measure tests, in my view, anyway. You
Yes.
cannot equate India playing a test series, say, against peak Australia in 23 in Australia,
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
say, England playing a series against Australia in 25. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just giving numbers, right? When,
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
Australia has an injury or two and say these are at parity. That's not just
Exactly.
never how
Exactly.
Test cricket has worked. Test cricket,
Exactly.
to me, it's an absurdity to pick the best team in the world in this competitive format. It's the best team in the world is always a point of argument, right? And so there are long eras of cricket in which there is no
Yeah.
best team in the world,
Yeah. Yeah.
or a debatable best team in the world, or maybe two or three teams that you could interchange with.
Yes.
And then there
Yes.
are
Yes.
distinct eras of cricket where there is a distinct best team on the planet,
The West
right? And
Indies
those,
era, the
that's
Australia
right.
era.
Those are
Yeah.
the hegemonic. And if you're going to be distinctly the best team on the planet, there should be no question marks about it. And I don't need a fucking trophy to tell me that. Right. So
Fair enough.
I prefer that format of where if you establish a hegemony and you do it through consistent performances over a year or two, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then people start looking at you like these guys are tough to beat wherever the hell they play. Then you're on it. Then that's to me how you go about it. And listen, a few bad decisions by Shastri and Kohli apart on
Yeah.
selection, a few unlucky losses in certain test matches. I wouldn't say
And a
unlucky,
few
but
and a
close losses.
and a few very unlucky tosses also. Very unlucky
Well, a
tosses.
toss is a toss, says him. I mean, I don't know. There's no such thing
That's
as an
true.
unlucky toss. A toss or toss. You have 50% chance from the moment the coin goes up
Yeah.
in the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunate tosses in the sense that yeah, if you win that, perhaps the game turns. A few of those gaps away from being able to proclaim that hegemony. Yeah, that's a huge thing, man. That's a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We'll split this up. I want to, because I'm anyway moving towards that theme. Can we take Virat the captain first? I know it's odd. Perhaps the batsman is what people would want, but I want to take Virat the captain first because Virat the captain is, I
I
think,
actually want
so
to. I
important.
Oh no, no. We'll talk about Virat the captain in the middle because we'll start with a logical case. Probably the knock which first brought him onto the scene. I want to talk about a couple of his earliest great test knocks. Like those are even before his captaincy, and they're very important to highlight what a great career is at. So I'll bring up his stats right here, and we'll talk about a couple of his greatest
Sure,
knocks in his
sure,
earlier
sure.
career. Okay, so here you see his test record. At the end, yes, he has definitely fallen down. An average of 47 is
No, no,
underwhelming.
let's
This is
not worry about
yeah,
it. So 2011 is the first series, right? Uh,
yeah, I'll just
and
bring it down. Yeah, year by year we can look at it. Yeah, yeah, by year.
and Virat is champing at the bit to get into that test series against Australia.
Yes, yes.
Format series, the end of the Big Four, you know, they they had a tough series.
Big
He was the
three.
only
Ganguly
he was
was
the
gone three
only
years ago.
Indian batsman that stood up. He was the only
Yes,
Indian batsman that stood up, right?
by far, by far.
With that century at Adelaide.
Yes,
Uh, Now, this is not his most technically proficient century.
it's
This is
not.
not the most complicated century, but it was
No.
people should not underrate that 2011 Australian bowling lineup. Just
Yes.
look at the kind of dismissals those bowlers came up with. I mean, they were kissing the edge of off stump. I don't know on how many occasions between Siddle, Hilfenhaus, Ryan Harris. These guys were bowling incredible stuff. Like, they were bowling incredible
Johnson
stuff.
also. Johnson too.
Yeah,
There was
Mitchell
Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for the genuine pace,
Yeah.
right? And they went after Kohli in that innings because he had anyway been fighting with them, right? Like giving it back to them. I mean, the famous middle finger to the crowd, like it's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
There's not
still
an
remember the
Indian
fight.
cricketer through the years who hasn't complained about the vilest possible abuse from the boundary. The
Yeah, yeah.
vilest possible abuse in Australia from the boundary. Okay, worse than any
Yes.
other country in the world,
Yes.
and never had the guts to turn around and do what he did. And this is his first fucking tour to Australia, his first test series. That is, and he hasn't become himself yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
He's
well
still,
before that.
the body isn't there, like the whole physical thing, physical transformation hasn't happened as yet. That's another thing to talk about.
He doesn't
He's a,
even have a
this
mustache or
is
beard.
just,
He's so young.
this is just pure West Delhi blood, dude. This is just like you poke a finger at me, you're getting it right back.
Yeah,
Amazing, amazing. You turn around, show them the finger, tell them to fuck off. And it gets better because I know I'm going to tread into the ODI, but that innings at Hobart against Sri Lanka, where he takes down Sri Lanka, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't even know the words. I still remember that me and my friend were exchanging messages at that time. And we were like, I want to be able to use evocative language to express what I think, but the only thing that's coming to my mind are Punjabi abuses because there is just no other way to describe that innings. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
shot
There
after
isn't.
shot. I was like, man, chod, ye bhi maar di. It was amazing. So the ascendancy is almost simultaneous, right? Like that's why I brought
Yeah,
that innings up. In
yeah,
011, he takes over, man. And for him to
yeah,
take over so quickly, it was amazing. It was stunning
yeah.
to watch.
Okay, I will
And by
differ
the
with
way,
you a bit.
his series wasn't perfect, it wasn't great. Look at that average in 2011.
2011 is there are only two tests. The other two tests were played in 2012. Adelaide comes
Yeah,
in 2012.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Same thing in the season, yeah, 11-12 season,
yeah, yeah,
right? But the average is 22.4. That
yeah, yeah,
Australia tour is average is 37, around 36, 37. It's
yeah,
not the
yeah,
highest, but the impact is visible. He's arrived.
yeah, yeah,
You can see
yeah,
this is a batsman, and you can see more than that. The guy has heart. He has incredible amount of heart. Now,
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to be dead honest with you. Back from 11 to about 13,
19.
14 or so. Okay.
Oh yeah, 13, 14. Yeah, initial.
I used to look at these guys and say, each of them, Pujara, Kohli, and Rahane,
Yeah.
and think we're screwed. We're truly screwed. Okay. Because I thought they were all good, but not great.
Ha
They
ha.
were all like each is a lesser of the last one. Like so, Kohli is Tendulkar
Slightly.
light, Pujara is Dravid light, and Rahane is VVS very very light. Okay,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
I was looking at that and going like, we are screwed because I never anticipated what Indian cricket was about to do on the bowling side, and
Yeah.
that revolution on the bowling side was just stunning. And it starts right. This is 11-12, and it's bad at that time, bro. It's bad at
Yeah, yeah.
that time.
It's really
Tendulkar's
bad.
about
I
to go
remember the
away.
two tours.
Dhoni is the shittiest captain in world cricket. The
Yes.
shittiest captain. Dhoni is
Yes.
boring the life out of his own fans in Test cricket. He's that defensive a Test match captain,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
And England come to India and properly do
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
in a way and to a degree where I looked at both Jadeja and Ashwin and thought,
Ashwin.
boss, we don't even have spinners. We are so fucked over the next decade. Every single one of those boys stepped up, man. Every single one of those boys. And Virat Kohli is a huge part of why every single one of them stepped up. He's a huge part of it.
Let me put it this way: that Adelaide innings, I kind of watched. I didn't completely watch it. I was what 13 or 14 around that time. I watched it then. Somewhat, it struck a chord in me. But then the Hobart innings came. I was really hooked on. But the real innings that really felt okay, this boy has come alive was the Johannesburg 114 and 96 test. That test match, forget the England tour. The England tour we will talk
Right?
about. The
And
disaster that he went through.
Made hundreds in both innings as well. Pujara
No,
Kohli
Pujara made
partner,
100.
yeah,
100.
Pujara Kohli partnership arrived in that Test match.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was a
Flatter
missed
wicket though.
opportunity.
Though let's be fair, that series had flatter wickets. Man, they nearly chased 452 on the last day in that series.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah, 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 yeah. Another example of Dhoni's brilliant captaincy in Test match
Oh my
cricket failing him.
god!
Failing him. Yeah.
No,
Point is,
that point needs to be reasserted. You walk into that team and Dhoni is stinking the place up right now,
yeah, 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 yeah,
right? And the bowlers haven't arrived yet.
yeah, yeah.
Shami, if I'm not mistaken, Shami
I don't
and
think Shami
Tendulkar's
is
on his
even
way
there in
out.
that test.
Tendulkar's on his way out. Everybody can sense it.
Yeah,
Shami makes his debut, I think, pretty much the last year of Tendulkar,
yeah, yeah,
13,
yeah, 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 yeah.
right? And he's raw. He's good. He's visibly good, but he's raw. Day one, you can see Mohammad Shami is a bowler. No problem. Umesh Yadav looked a really good bowler at that time. He never got it together. He had the skill set. He had the pace. He had the seam. He had that natural away movement, but he never got it together, right?
Yes.
We had at that time
Ishant Sharma
we
1.5
had
version.
PK. PK was one of our bowlers. Praveen
Ishant
Kumar.
Sharma 1.5. Ishant Sharma 1.5
Ishant
version.
Sharma was still in the doldrums, right? Ishant
Yeah, yeah.
Sharma, early career, every time Zahir Khan was there and telling him what to bowl, good bowler, superb
Magic.
bowler.
Magic.
When Zach wasn't around, could not use his own mind, could not use his own
Yeah,
brain.
yeah,
Ishant
yeah,
doesn't develop till 16, man.
yeah, yeah,
Till,
yeah,
okay, maybe the start of it, yeah, 16, around 2016 is when
yeah,
Ishant
yeah,
starts to develop.
yeah, yeah,
Ishant has a stunning career, but it's curtailed into 4, 5 years,
yeah, yeah,
right? Although it starts back in 08, 07, 08. I mean, a
yeah,
long
yeah, yeah,
career.
yeah.
So 13, 14 year career, of which only 4 or 5 years. But in those 4, 5 years, he got himself to 300 wickets. I think close to
Yes.
300 wickets.
300, 300. He hit
Yeah,
300.
he hit 300s. That's a stunning
So,
performance, man.
no, that Johannesburg innings, right? That 114 and 96 game. I was really sad when he missed out on the second 100. He should have probably hit a double 100. That was how good he was playing. And my word, Stein was in full flow. This is 2013 Stein. Remember, 2013 Stein, 2013 Philander. Philander was 18 average or 19 average at that time. This is a Johannesburg track. But his first innings where the pitch was green, my word, those cuts. He had a back foot game at that time. We have forgotten the Kohli back foot game, but he had one at that time. Those pull shots, dream like, exactly like Ricky Ponting's pull shots, going on the front foot, then pulling back and then swinging it across the line. Superb. Also, he had that Brian Lara ability in those early years. He missed fielders. He didn't even touch a fielder. He missed them. He put everything into gaps. The England series apart, that South Africa series is where I knew this guy was going to be something. That Johannesburg double effort, he should have been 200s in the match for him and should have been an Indian victory. But alas, what can we do? But one of those innings, I'll tell you.
Yeah, to me, it was this is 2 steps forward. That Johannesburg, but wouldn't have been surprised if there was one step back as well, and there was for a
Yeah,
period
there
of time,
was, there was, there was.
right? So I wasn't what you're talking about, the free flowing shot making, and maybe because of the players I saw growing up watching, I was like, okay, this is going to be a lot of errors also. It's going to
Yeah,
be a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
errors in this style of play.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, the talent was indisputable. I promise you this, man. When he made his debut in 2008 in an ODI in Sri Lanka, I
Yeah.
didn't see this batsman. I didn't see this batsman coming, man. Not back then. He just looked so tentative. He looked so worried about what he's about to play and how he's about to play it. The problem was, by then I had seen a few batsmen, young batsmen come in, and when they arrived, they were fine, right? Tendulkar, when he arrived, was complete.
Tendulkar,
Uh,
different breed. We'll have to
no,
have
no,
an
no, no,
episode
no,
on
no.
this.
But there were others. Yeah, there were others. There were other real Ponting. Day one, man, Ponting looked set,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Even forget those guys. Praveen Amre, guy who disappointed eventually. When he first
Yeah.
arrived, Praveen Amre was, he just looked it. Like he had it. He had a debut 100 as well. Test
Yeah.
match 100. Right?
Yeah.
Calmly looked it on day one. Like, I'm just
Yes.
giving you
Yes.
a random example. Graham Thorpe, day one that
Yeah.
he played the game, they played a test match. I said, this is a proper batsman.
Yes. Yes.
Obviously Dravid, obviously Ganguly. So they were visible on day one, and this guy was not visible in the same way on day one. It just didn't look it that way. And it was a good thing, it was a smart thing of Indian cricket. We had enough depth that, there's a solid 3 year gap between him uh, making his
Coming
ODI
in.
debut,
Yeah.
establishing himself well enough in ODIs to become a part of the ODI World Cup team in 2011, to
Yes.
then getting his test debut at the end of that 2011 season. And that's
Yeah.
that's a good transition. That's a very good
It's
transition to
very
have.
good transition. And something that cannot happen today, considering the number of ODIs we play has been so limited, it's very difficult for anyone to teeth down, so to speak, on a
Yeah,
bunch of
and the
ODIs
other
and
reason
then
why
come
it
into
can't
test.
happen is that, unlike the big four, his two partners in crime faded much earlier,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
right? And his other partner in crime, Rohit Sharma, is too curtailed a test match career, too small a test match
Absolutely.
career at the
Absolutely.
highest quality that he had. So
Absolutely.
he's had his lone ranger moments, man. And I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, uh, there are clear lowest ebbs, but the highest, the panache of his batting was that 2017 season all away from home. That's the peak of his
Yeah.
batting,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I mean that in the sense of, even in England in that 5 match
Yeah. Yeah.
series,
2018
the
series.
way
Yeah.
he's able to score 593 runs is not because of the free flowing cricket. It's
Yeah.
because of the amount of discipline he put into his batting to take
Absolutely.
away the
Absolutely.
same errors that he had in 14. Because in 14 he was Anderson's little bunny,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And that was visible. Why he was Anderson's bunny was visible. It was the same thing that didn't go to hand, for example, in Johannesburg at various stages, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
see that problem existed, and he overcame that fully in that 17 tour. You talk about the two innings in Johannesburg. There's two innings in 2017. One, I think, at Cape
2018.
Town first.
2018.
2018.
2018. Yeah.
One,
2018.
one at Cape Town.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
The
after first inning.
153.
Oh
The
my
150.
God, what an
Yeah. Yeah.
innings!
I've seen
What
that.
a stunning innings! That's a monster level innings, man. I mean, it took
Masterpiece.
the might of South Africa to stop him. That it was incredible innings. There is shot making of the highest order in that innings.
Yeah.
And then there is one, and I think this might be, was it at Nottingham or was it, I forget where.
145, 149 Edgbaston. The Edgbaston 149. Yeah. Yeah.
He's so controlled for so long in that
Yeah.
innings,
Yeah.
right? Just holding back on. And then there's this 60, 70-minute eruption,
Yeah.
which is just a total flattening on the bowling performance. Like, he just flattened them, he annihilated them. That that was the innings at which I went like, fuck, that's a proper, that's a great. That's where I can see the gap between him and the bowling is so much. And I'm telling you, the batsmen like Ben Stokes will have the odd occasion when he looks so far
Yeah.
apart
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
bowling. Others will have it too. But then, with Kohli, he's also going to have the volume of runs. This is going to
Exactly.
happen more often. It's going to happen in
Exactly.
different places. That was
Yeah.
the innings at which I went like, fuck, he's genuinely great. This is not a good
Yeah.
batsman, not a batsman with potential to be great anymore. Greatness has arrived. It's those two
Yeah.
innings. It didn't matter to me. The rest of the year didn't matter to me. Qua him. Again, end of that year, that innings at Perth, fucking brilliant innings.
The
That's a
Perth.
proper technician's inning, right?
In
Even though
fact,
we lost
in
that test match. And also,
yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
this is what I don't like about people who make estimations of, oh, but how many centuries were in a win? It's not his fault.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an up and
So,
down wicket. He makes the
yeah. Yeah.
100. He keeps you in the game. You roll over in the fourth. What is he supposed to do? Right?
Exactly.
The bowlers don't push through the Aussie batting lineup the way they push through your batting lineup. What's he supposed to
Exactly.
do? He played a genuinely great innings. The innings doesn't become devalued because it didn't come in a win. As a
Yeah.
technical innings, man, it's a masterclass of an innings. Listen,
For me,
those three centuries in that year,
yeah.
and I was genuinely starting to believe there's something more here. Like this could
Yeah. Yeah.
become massive. And then look, I have been at one time fairly famous amongst fans of cricket on Twitter for having in 2019 after the World Cup predicted that this is done. His career is done. This is in 2019, right after the World Cup, and
Yeah. Yeah.
he still looked at his pinnacle. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I went so far as to say maybe not even 5 centuries in all formats. I mean, the shittiness
Yeah.
of ODI has saved him. It
Yeah.
particularly the ODI World Cup here, and that 1 year in which he went a little bit mad. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
because of the pitches. That's because of the two new balls, white balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, I wasn't wrong, and I wasn't wrong because I could see it. The problem of 14 came back,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so somewhere his, when the great cricketer did a tribute to him,
Yeah. Yeah. They
they
did.
say this is the least deserving average in Test history, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I don't agree with that. And the reason why I don't agree with that is that particular weakness, bro. He never conquered his weaknesses fully.
He never did. He never
He
did.
managed them, right?
Yeah.
He physically got so good. His reflexes got so good. His sense of attack got so good. What a batsman in that during that phase. Yeah. Like his peak phase, fucking nuts. It is a peak phase worthy of the elites, the absolute
Yeah.
elites. Only
Absolutely.
problem is that peak phase for the genuine, for the biggest ones, comes twice or thrice in their career,
Yeah.
and for him it came once.
Once. Okay. Let me talk about a couple of the favorite Kohli innings we have not still talked about. We know the Perth Classic. We know the Edgbaston Heroics. For me, his peak 2018, yes, technically 2018
Bro,
is his
it's
peak.
not just there's an hour at Edgbaston,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
I've seen that.
batting. It's something transitional. I mean, he went into another zone.
Yeah, yeah. 2018 is his best year in Test cricket, and that 593 in England remains his magnum opus, in my
In
opinion.
fact, I'll
Yes.
tell you another one, and he's got few of these gems in tough circumstances. His last great innings in Australia, as per me, is the pink ball 70 odd, where he got run
Pink
out by
ball
Rahane.
74. Yeah, pink ball 74.
Fuck,
Yeah.
he was batting like nobody else batted in that Test match, man. He was batting like another. Again, there were levels, man. There were levels apart. He wanted to leave. He was going to leave at the end of that Test match. That was a known fact because birth of his first child,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And so he was crystal clear. I'm going to take this to 1-0 and then I will leave. Then, of course, we
Yeah.
ended up 36 all out. So you can't predict life. But he was batting beautifully that day
And
as
then
well.
you win the greatest Test series of all time. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's life. That's life.
that's life. Yeah, yeah. But let me my favorite series of him, and this is not his technical best, but my favorite series of him is that 2014-15 Australia tour. Nowhere have I seen a young man with such attitude go to the Aussies den and then boss them like he nobody's business.
Yeah,
This
but I'll tell
man
you
made
what. So
400s.
my sort of why I don't rate that has everybody made runs on that. That's the flattest set of pitches Australia's ever produced. Day 5 wickets were so flat, man.
Yeah, yeah, they
The
were.
Aussies made so many runs and they found it impossible to win Test matches. And huge credit, Rahane made a lot of runs in that series. And that is the series in which he started to mess around with Pujara. He dropped Pujara, and he
Yeah,
dropped
yeah, yeah,
Pujara a couple of times to accommodate Rohit as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Shouldn't have done that. Pujara should have had his
And
role.
Ashwin should have played. Ashwin should have played. Another
Yeah,
great
yeah, lots
mistake
of
made
things,
in that.
lots of things. But I'm telling you, like 14, I get it. 14 is it's that word all these Pakistani YouTubers love using for all their false propaganda on the recent war. 14 was like a yelgar. It was like a fucking animal scream from like the next great Indian batsman who's arrived, right? Like I'm going to show you things you haven't seen before. I'm going to show you 200s in a test match, and I'm going to nearly beat you single-handedly at Adelaide, nearly
Yeah, yeah,
single-handedly, right?
yeah.
And still lose it on my terms. I got up.
Exactly.
You didn't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
me. I got
You
up.
know.
I was going to hit you out of the park again, and it didn't turn out perfectly, and that's how you got me out. But otherwise,
Exactly.
I had you. I had you.
Yeah.
What a performance that was. I mean, I
For,
still remember tweeting this that day. We lost that test match. I was like, this is the happiest I've ever been with a test match loss. I had no problem losing a test match like this.
yeah, yeah. But for me, the Adelaide 115 and 141 are very high up. I don't disagree with you at all there. But the other performance from that series that reigns very high is the 169 at Melbourne. I rewatched it lately. He leaves so well in it.
Yeah.
Johnson is being driven like a club bowler in that. Also, Johnson, I
Yeah, yeah,
don't know
yeah.
what happened to him, but yeah, he was
Yeah, there's
absolutely
a there's a
treated like
there's
a
a there's a 5-6 year period he had the mental discipline. About a 5-6 year period, he had the mental discipline of a batsman.
yeah,
And the
yeah.
bad patch went on for too long after that. We'll get to the bad patch in a bit. But anyway, there are glory years here, man. There are proper glory years here.
So for me,
And
that
it's like
that
this.
series,
It's like this. I see if I had to do a, we never got to do a episode or this came too late. This started too late. We never did one episode on Pujara. I love
yeah,
Pujara. I think Pujara deserves a lot more credit and a lot more profile than he has.
and
And
he should be
Pujara
in the
won
Hall of
you.
Fame.
He won you two BGTs, man. His batting won you
Absolutely,
two BGTs. Right? That
absolutely.
first BGT, Pujara is incredible. He literally
In
batted the life out of them. Right? He batted the life out of them.
yeah,
But Pujara doesn't kill you.
yeah, he doesn't.
Virat Kohli will kill you. He will kill you so smoothly. He will kill you with a range of stroke play and a set of like the presence. It's that prowl. It's that look in his eyes. Like he's just there to eat you up. It's amazing. Tendulkar used to be a gentle, sagely presence, man. These guys were monks. Dravid was a monk.
Yeah,
VVS
yeah,
was a monk. Like they're chilling out there. They're talking to each other. Even Sehwag, for all his brutal hitting,
yeah.
he's a very chill dude. This guy
Virat,
was out for war.
yeah,
Absolute war. I loved it. I loved that attitude.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Then
For
his
me,
press conferences, he didn't hold back in press conferences.
yeah,
He
yeah,
gave
he
it
didn't,
back
he
to them.
didn't. No, nowadays he does, but he didn't used to. Back in the day, he was much more unfiltered.
And there are press conferences on that Australia tour of 14
Yeah.
where I thought he's gonna throw that table away and punch someone. Right? I loved it. I loved it. He's just letting them know your hypocrisy will not stand.
Yeah, yeah,
It will not stand.
yeah,
Listen, there's context to this, right? There's the 11 series was so one-sided that the trauma of the 8 series couldn't be really fulfilled. Because in
yeah,
2008, the fuckers cheated and did a lot of other things to
yeah.
deprive us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
They should have been losing every BGT in Australia from 2003 onwards, but for that bastard Buckner. Uh,
yeah.
and 11 was a whitewash, so you were done in 11. 14 was
No.
such an important series for that reason. And as well as he batted, right, my fear was, how do we get back into this where we are competing with them again? Because as
Yeah,
much as as well as he did, as well as certain other batsmen did on that tour, we were never competitive as a series,
yeah.
right? Maybe if Adelaide switches, then it's a different story. But otherwise, we were
Mm.
really not competitive as a series.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Now, my fear
We
was we would never get the bowling, but we got the bowling
we
eventually.
got the bowling. Yeah, yeah. Let me ask you a question. Let this be like a short answer. I wanted this to be on record. For me, my favorite is Australia 2014-15. Like I cannot, it's look, I was 16 years old. I'm seeing this for the first time. But I know very well England 2018 is his magnum opus. I'm not going to
No,
disagree
man,
there.
I will go. It's not a singular 2018 is a magnum opus. I'm not going to go with one tour. South
Yeah, yeah,
Africa,
fair enough.
superb. He was superb in South. Listen, he was as good as he could have been in South Africa. He was
Yeah,
also up against good bowlers. Uh, they were a good team. South Africa were a very good team.
yeah,
I did not expect us to go to South Africa and be better than them. I never
yeah,
did, because they had the batsman at that time. They still had Amla. They still had AB. AB quit in that series. AB quit after that
yeah, yeah.
series.
No, AB, no. He quit in the 2018 Australia series, the one after ours.
Right. So just that season he quit. Right.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
on the verge.
yeah,
Aiden Markram had just come onto the scene for South Africa, and he
yeah, yeah,
looked it, man. Even Virat, in fact, has a comment from 2018 series about Markram. Like, if he wants, he can be the best batsman in the world, and it was visible about Markram. Markram, even now, when I look at Markram,
yeah,
like this, he's got a bit of Virat to him, right? Like he's got the
yeah,
shots, he's got everything.
yeah,
That's the difference, though. He didn't have this the
yeah,
in sheer intensity of being Virat Kohli. And
Yeah,
you can't complete what made him what he was without recounting that famous anecdote of him arriving to RCB training drunk in the morning.
yeah, yeah.
And I think it was Jenner. Jenner used to be the coach, the South African
Yeah,
Ed
yeah, he
Jenner.
was. He was. He was. He
Yeah,
was.
and he basically lambasted him first, and
Yeah,
then told him straight up, like, you can be anything you want to be,
yeah,
but you're not going to be it like this. And
yeah,
then Kohli himself talks about how he went to the mirror, he took
yeah.
his shirt off, and he's like,
And he
this
didn't like
can't
what he saw.
this can't be an international athlete. So he's 36 now, and he still looks it. He still looks as fit as he looked when he was, mid
He's
20s.
fitter than you and I combined, and
Oh,
probably our
no, no, no.
families
Don't
combined.
put
Yeah,
me in this. Don't put me
yeah.
in this. Incredible. The discipline, man. The guy talking about how मैंने
You,
4 साल से दाल मखनी नहीं खाई.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no.
This
You know what he
used to
said?
be his
You know what
go-to
he said?
thing.
You know what he said in the lockdown shortly after 2022? He was on Graham Norton, that American interviewer. He was
No,
saying
Graham Norton is
basically,
the English interviewer.
oh yeah, English interviewer. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's
Norton.
never been on the Graham Norton show, man. You
No,
must be
no, not
confusing
Norton.
someone else.
Somebody else. Somebody else. Fair enough. Fair enough. He was
Charlie
basically on
Rose,
this.
nahi tha nahi. Was it Charlie Rose by any chance? Or
No, no, not Charlie
but
Rose.
you
Thank
got to
goodness.
send me a link of this interview. I don't know which one you're talking about. I want to see it.
I'll send it to you. I'll see if I can find it. I've forgotten where the link was. It's 3 years, 4 years ago. Memory. So 2021 or 2022. He goes on this interview. The interviewer basically asks him, "What sacrifices have you done for your career?" And he begins. And my word, the kind of stuff he says, like for example, he used to say, "I used to train like 1 hour, 1 or 2 hours when he got into the team. When he started dieting, that had to change to 4, 5. Specific shot training, power training, weight training. My entire day was gym pitch, gym pitch, gym pitch. Like the
I'll add to
way
that.
he
I'll add to
trained.
that. This is a story I'll never forget. Remember when he made a double hundred against England in India in that
Yeah,
16
yeah.
series,
235. The 235. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He came out of that 235 and he went straight after he batted a full day and he went straight to the gym.
2 days.
And
He batted 2 full days
yeah,
actually.
yeah, and he went straight to the gym. And his idea was, if after this I can go to the gym and lift weights and exercise, then that means my stamina is only improving. And at this innings was well within my stamina capacity. That's
The
commitment.
man was
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
the
That's more. So there is a part of me that feels that, like I said from the beginning, his natural talent didn't look at that level to me,
yeah, yeah,
but he made himself. Yeah. It just sometimes feels like the sheer fitness, sheer attention to detail. Right, he made himself into something incredible.
absolutely. Yeah,
Even now, he's had a few innings. Man, there was, you remember this most recent South Africa tour where the
yeah.
pitches were
The
truly,
74.
they were a
Yeah,
joke. They were a joke.
yeah,
And we had that 5 for 0 when we lost
yeah,
5 for 0. Before that,
yeah.
he'd made 70 odd or
70 odd.
60
Yeah,
odd. Oh my
yeah, yeah. 70.
God. I mean, the gap between him and the others, even, and I was like, man, has he figured it out again? I was stunned. But,
Yeah,
alas, didn't work. But yeah, he's got those vignettes. He's got those vignettes at all times, those small innings that are not centuries, but they're classic innings.
yeah, yeah. Okay. More to the point on that 235 versus England. That 235 was not a flat deck. He actually played it on a spinning fourth day deck.
Listen, he also got 3 lives.
That's also there. He did.
Three, and they were very simple ones. One of them was very, but it is what it is, man. You get the life, you bat, you make your
Yeah,
runs, and it was a necessary innings. It was an absolutely
yeah,
necessary innings.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Uh, Now ask you an easier one. Which
So
is
that
your
might
favorite?
be his best innings against spin, Sima, because if you remember the 17 Australia BGT at home,
Yeah, he was
where he was
terrible. He
so,
was terrible. Yeah,
what
he
terrible,
was
he
terrible.
did nothing. Like it's a single digit average.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah,
When again the Steve Smith story goes, Steve Smith plays probably the best innings by a foreign batsman on an Indian raging turner at Nagpur.
also dropped 4 times. Also dropped 3, 4 times.
There you
Same,
go.
same
It has
story.
to happen on a raging turner. It has to happen. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
keep telling people, raging green tops you can handle. Raging turners cannot be handled.
No, no. That tour, in my opinion, that tour where Steve Smith mastered spin is his second best. After the England 774, that's his best tour. 500 runs in the series, ridiculous. The man was on another planet at that time.
Yeah,
But
and they
again,
and they used to, and they used to select Peter Hanscom just because Hanscom could play spin.
play spin, and he played it
They wouldn't pick him
relatively
anywhere
okay.
else, but they could pick Hanscom for India.
Spin.
Pujara had a good series. Pujara scored a lot of runs in that series as well.
Rahane was reasonable actually. Rahane was
Yeah,
reasonable in that
yeah,
series. Yeah.
yeah.
But again, that bring okay. Now I'll just ask one simple question. Which is your favorite double hundred of his? He has seven. So
I mean, I don't like the. I wouldn't. I'll take out all the West Indian ones.
the
Uh,
West Indian, there's only one. There's only one
yeah,
actually.
yeah. Those are very easy innings. I thought.
Yeah, yeah, very easy
I
innings.
mean, very poor West Indian team, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I think it's a 235.
It's his 235 or even his 256 against South Africa. His last double hundred was a pretty good one because Maharaj bowled relatively okay.
Not comparable to what the Aussies
Not
were
that,
doing.
not comparable to
It
the
was not comparable
235.
to what the
Yes.
English were doing on that day. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
the
yeah,
English
yeah.
were better. The English were more competitive. I don't think. See, the part of the problem is South Africa doesn't come into uh, a series with India in India. Post Graham Smith's captaincy
Yeah,
with any belief of winning.
yeah. They don't.
Right? Unlike the Aussies, who they don't give a shit who they're putting out there. They believe they can win.
They believe they can win. Yeah. All right. Now let's come to the part where I think we should be most thankful for Kohli, his captaincy. Take a bow because you are the most successful Indian captain, test captain of all time. 40 test match wins out of 68 tests. Brilliant record. And I'll just give him a hand. That is absolutely deserved. The things he did for Indian fast bowling, just going and telling them, bowl, you bowl, I'll set the field, similar to what Ganguly was saying for Harbhajan Singh all those years ago. And the kind of mindset change where he said, I need fast bowlers to get me 20 wickets to win test matches abroad, and then actually doing it. That is, according to me, the peak of his captaincy. There are a few moments from his captaincy career which we will talk about, but I think I'll start it with probably the defining moment of his test captaincy, Lords 2021. What a test! 60 overs. What was his message? Give them hell, boys. And they gave them hell.
Uh,
What a match.
that's the one. That's definitely the one that 'cause there are those that is captaincy loss. Hey, before we move to this, am I wrong in recalling the double hundreds all come virtually together?
Except one. The South
Yeah,
Africa double hundred is in 2019, but all the
yeah,
others are
yeah,
2016, 17. Yeah, yeah. You're right.
yeah, yeah. And wasn't there a stat like this was the most rapid collection of double hundreds to that
Yeah,
number?
yeah. I think
Uh,
other than I
other than
Bradman might be the
Bradman,
only one.
other than
Bradman
Bradman,
might,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he was on,
Bradman
man.
might be.
That about that 2014-15 tour of Australia, all the
Yeah,
way to 2019 tour of Bangladesh. Mother
yeah,
God, he was on.
yeah. He was absolutely on. So Lords
Yeah, the
2021.
Lord's captaincy for sure. But equally, right after that, when we went away from there on COVID, and I really didn't like that. I thought we're ready for
Obviously.
the next test and finish this off there.
Yeah, yeah,
Win the
yeah, yeah.
series. Cost us the series going away, man.
Yeah, it does.
Came back
It
and
did.
lost that ridiculous test match.
Oh, we were
Uh,
winning that series 3-1 without that break.
but that Lord's test has some very fortuitous things. If you remember the end of day four, late day four, everybody I remember was cursing Rahane and Pujara like there's no tomorrow. But they such vital innings those two played. Not
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
long, but short. But and then England lost their minds in the morning of day five,
Completely.
where they kept bowling
Bumrah and
short,
Shami.
and
Bumrah and
Shami kept
Shami.
hooking them. Madness. Utter madness. Yeah, that win was on the moment Root got out. Right after
Yeah.
tea, when Root got out, that was it. I was like, yeah, this is on. And Butler was trying to defend for his life. I was like, there's no way Butler can bat like this for a period of time. Man, do you
You know?
remember? Do you remember the Bumrah slow ball to
Yeah,
eventually
yeah,
break
yeah.
that?
That's
Oh my
so.
God, that's art. And this was the arrival of uh,
Siraj.
of Siraj.
Siraj.
Yeah. The mania, the madness of Siraj. to bring so much energy with him. He always does. So this is why I love Siraj so much.
By
I
the
mean,
way,
he nurtured all of these bowlers, man, as captain. His
Gaba 20.
captaincy to spin, okay, for those two spinners, he was godsend. The
Yeah,
way he would attack in almost every scenario. Different
yeah,
matter that we were so good at home at that time that he could keep attacking. And he
yeah,
was so good as a batsman that he always had runs. And the pressure was always there.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, the way, for example, he and uh, before that, the way he fought to get Ravi Shastri and got rid of
yeah,
Anil Kumble.
yeah, yeah,
People are talking about arrogance and this and that. At the end of the day, he's the guy who's got to go out and play. He's got to
yeah,
handle the team. He gets his coach. Yeah, I don't care beyond that. Yeah,
yeah,
the hell with all this arrogance. ठीक है यार. But, it's his choice. He made good on it.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
He might good on it.
he was then as captain to those two spinners. He used to have a huge variety of fields that he would set for them. There was never
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah,
defined field, but
yeah, yeah.
nothing was ever too defensive. There's never a drift. I don't think there are too many players from abroad who came to India. No double centuries, firstly, against
No,
us.
none, none.
There'll be only a handful of centuries even.
Steve Smith has three of them. So yeah,
No,
basically.
forget him, freak.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
there's a couple of English centuries also.
Imagine
Uh,
Williamson didn't make 100 in India
I'm
during
not too
that period.
surprised. I'm not too
He,
surprised. Yeah, I mean, listen, for uh, Ashwin, the way they weaponized the leg slip,
yeah,
it's be a thing of beauty. And Ashwin had the control to keep bowling that middle stump line, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. And even if he'd come right arm round, he'd bowl that middle stump line. I mean, this is Kohli, the captain, and Kohli would be the one at leg slip. He would be the one at
That's
leg slip, waiting for that catch. Right.
exactly.
And because Ashwin also had the straighter one, the Dusra from that same pitching spot, that
Carom ball,
is really
carom ball,
hard to
carom ball, carom ball. Yeah, carom
that
ball.
is really, really hard to play, man. These
Yeah,
are
yeah,
superb plans. And this, I'm telling you, for someone who saw that 2012 England tour, the fear was massive. The
yeah,
worry that this is never going to happen was massive. So, like, there's no limit to the credit that he deserves. You know.
yeah.
So, I think we're going to go on for about 10 more minutes. So, now some of the bad stuff has to be eventually talked
No,
about
no.
for a few
Well, I'll
minutes.
mention two or three more
Sure, sure.
captaincy glory
No, no, I
days.
don't want to. I don't want to end on the bad stuff. Okay, so I just want to
Yeah,
get done with it, and then we can talk about the good stuff again.
good stuff. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Uh, Two problems: genuine, proper turners. He had no clue all
None,
career.
none.
Okay. Uh,
Because he didn't sweep. He never used the sweep
no, no,
shot
it's not.
after
It's not.
12,
No,
14,
it's
15.
footwork. It's a footwork problem. It's a footwork problem.
Footwork also. Footwork
He
also.
doesn't come down. He was so unsure about when to play with the bat.
Yeah,
Right. He had problems with that. A bit of it is obviously DRS as well.
yeah,
The other is so I think people talk about wobble seam a lot and
yeah,
overplay it to my mind. Yes, wobble seam, but it's just he started to play the cover drive all the time.
yeah. His back
And
foot
it
play
was
declined.
around 2019 when I noticed that the cover drive is starting to dissipate. It's not as
Yeah,
effective as it used to be as a shot.
yeah, yeah,
That's when I knew that, now he's gone. Because when your strength starts becoming a weakness,
yeah,
it's very few batsmen who can adapt. And I expected him to be able to adapt. I used to at that time talk about how one of the big problems with his batting was to cover for all of this.
yeah,
And I thought even for DRS, it was a bad tactic.
yeah,
His back foot, the
yeah.
the toe of his back foot, or at least
Off
half a
stump.
foot of it,
Off
would
stump.
be outside off stump.
Yeah,
How the fuck are you going to save yourself outside off then? I mean,
yeah,
you're allowing a bowler a seven stump line.
yeah,
A seven stump line is going to look straight to you from there.
yeah,
It's going to look fairly, and you're throwing your hands, and you're only throwing your hands because from your normal starting position, the
yeah.
cover drive is just not happening anymore. And it goes back
Yes.
to something you said earlier,
Yeah,
okay, which was he had that thing that Lara had. He just keep missing the fielders. That disappeared.
Exactly.
Wasn't missing the
Exactly.
fielders as much anymore. Still, there's some cracking innings. I think it's the 21 South Africa tour, which I think he loses his captaincy at the end of that tour, right? The Test
Yeah,
match
yeah, yeah,
captaincy.
yeah, yeah.
But it was his worst tour as a captain. Okay, there's a 75 he makes even in that. So he fought like a rabid dog for every run in that innings. Highest respect I can give to a test match batsman is when it's not on for you, when you don't know how to do it well, and you fight like a dog. That he fought 160, 170 deliveries for 75 runs, maybe even more, right? And while the other end is just collapsing. But it wasn't that. It was a failure to defend 240 or 230 twice in the fourth innings
Yeah, yeah.
on very good pitches. That's the thing that, and again, it's a lot of it is luck. Uh, Shami and Bumrah were early on in both those day fives, were beating the bat for fun but never getting the edge. Then I
Yes.
think the lines were a little too wide, and he didn't correct the lines as captain. And at first slip, he didn't correct the lines, and he had no plan for the bowler number three, and no
Yeah,
plan for bowler number three. And once a test match momentum shifts, then it's very difficult to pull it back. Because test match, there is no urgency to make an error. Right? The
yeah,
other side doesn't need to make an error.
yeah.
So those were, I think, and then of course,
Ashwin in England and Australia and
well, I mean, the
everywhere else.
Ashwin thing I don't get, man. Ashwin for years, I used to have, that was my biggest complaint, that they kept playing Jaddu over Ashwin. I think you have lost test matches away or drawn
Yeah.
test matches away, which you could have won if you had Ashwin.
Yes.
Uh, but the counter argument to me is Ashwin's averages weren't great, but his averages weren't great because you weren't playing him.
Yes.
Later in his career, his averages there were very good. His average in Australia, in fact, was very, very good in his last two
Yeah.
tours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And Ashwin could be a more dogged test match batsman than Jaddu, which he
Yeah.
proved in Adelaide. A vital innings in Adelaide with Hanuma Vihari, one of the
Yeah.
great Indian rear guards
Sydney.
in
Sydney. Sydney.
Sydney,
Sydney.
sorry, yeah, Sydney.
Sydney.
One of the great Indian rear guards at Sydney, and on a sticky wicket, but an Australian sticky wicket, it'll also leap at you at times. Like those guys got battered. They got battered over those 20 odd overs.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Anyway, they were injured. They lost a hamstring and whatnot, but they fought it out, right? So those are bad errors. Arey, Baba, fucking that 2018, you could have won so many test matches if you didn't believe that your next great all-rounder is Hardik fucking Pandya, who couldn't play test cricket for fuck. And the
Yeah.
problem that happened is the first innings that 2018 arc. Okay, the first innings of the first test against South Africa, when everybody else collapses,
He
Pandya
hit
makes
a
a very
70.
chancy 80. Very
Yeah.
chancy. Like he got dropped a few times. A few times the ball just flies through gully, like that kind of
Yeah.
I'm not even saying by few times, I mean like 8, 9, 10 times. The kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
odds that you're never going to get. It's like a striker who's scoring 20 goals against say 7 expected goals, right? This
Yeah.
shit is not going to continue. It's going to come down.
Yeah.
As a bowler, did nothing. Pandya was giving him nothing as a bowler, except he went and won you a test match in England.
Yeah.
Right?
One
The myth
test
again
match.
continued for a while.
Yeah.
And if instead of Pandya, that same investment in South Africa and Australia was made in Bhuvi, I
Yeah.
think you have potentially had a different outcome. That was one
But
error. The
but
second
Bowie
was the
actually
first
played
test
South
in South
Africa.
Africa.
Bowie played
But
in
he
South
dropped in
Africa.
the next match, bro. After
Ah.
Bhuvneshwar
Yeah. Yeah.
Kumar
Yeah.
is man of the match, he drops him next match. Right? First test, Bhuvi is man of the match for us.
Yeah.
Second
Yeah.
test, dropped. Uh,
Yeah.
Drop Pujara for fucking Rohit Sharma. And that I used to have this phrase at that time. I was so sick of some of these decisions. I used to call it intent pancho because proper West Delhi intent on
Yeah.
every goddamn thing. You don't need to be that hard all the time. Rohit Sharma is not a better test match batsman than Chiteshwar Pujara. You will
Yes.
get more out of Pujara than you will get out of Sharma.
Sharma.
This is
Yes.
basic care. And so he messed around with Pujara a little bit. And my feeling is because Pujara got 1,000 odd test runs because of that messing around. But so be it. Yeah, he's still a great captain for Pujara. Uh, those were the bad ones. Those were the errors. And then, of course, the batting, it was clear. It's gone. It's
It's
gone.
gone.
Right? And it was gone for a long time. His only
Yeah.
century in that time for a bit was on the flattest pitch that they
Flattest
could
of
have made
pitch.
in India, where
Yeah,
one innings was not completed over 5 days for both
yeah.
teams, right? That's the only one that he got for a while.
But he had
Uh,
some really bad luck with a couple of LBWs. Nitin Menon gave him out a number of times when the ball simultaneously hit bat and pad, and then the third umpire basically gave him
yeah,
out as well.
but Siman, the way he was batting in that stage, right? I don't expect that 15 balls later he's not getting out in some other way. 5 balls later he's not
Possibly,
getting out.
possibly. Yeah, yeah,
Right, the
possibly.
batting was gone. That was a part. That was a huge thing for him. When and it not it showed up most obviously in this Australia tour, where some of the dismissals on that Australia tour were just, this has now become a pantomime. Like it's become the opposite of that mentally driven attacking, the guy who could be disciplined and could be a killer. It become the opposite of that. He becomes the greatest example of that was, you remember, in the Melbourne test
Yeah, he ran
when he,
out Jaiswal and then he got out immediately. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bro, he ran out Jaiswal, and he didn't just get out immediately. He looked like he needed to be in mommy's arms, man. He looked so scared of the spot. I was stunned. I was like, this cannot be Virat Kohli. I cannot believe I'm seeing that body language from Virat Kohli. He looked apprehensive, and he looked so worried about the whole thing. So, shit, I got it. Jaiswal's out. Who's going to make the runs? Virat Kohli, otherwise, be like, I'm going to make the runs. What's the problem? I'm going to make the runs. That was gone. It was done. The mind was finished. And I mean, I
But
don't
one more
quite
thing.
know what prompted an immediate retirement right now. I don't know what prompted it. Some rumors from the usual suspects, uh, but I suspect the larger messaging from the board
Yeah,
was, we're going for a younger team. And to
yeah.
Rohit, it must have been quite clear, boss, don't even think about it.
Don't
Right?
even
Don't
think
even
about
think
it.
about it. And I don't think any of us find that unfair. Virat's a surprise, because I think Virat would have definitely had this tour covered as a selectorial proposition.
Yeah,
He would
yeah.
have had this tour covered,
Yes.
uh, if he wanted to play it.
Yeah,
So perhaps this might be his last great captaincy level sacrifice, to say, once you've told me you want to go with a younger team, then I'm standing in
exactly.
the way, and I might be a
Yeah,
big shadow in this. So I'm getting out of
yeah.
this altogether.
Fair enough.
And let the kids take over. I don't know. Perhaps that's that.
You
Uh,
know, it's
or
actually a reasonably timed retirement decision. It's not a bad time to retire for him either, because we know all know he's not getting any better against these balls. And I'll tell you another thing. I was rewatching that Australia tour. Even there are plenty of back of the length, short of a length deliveries outside his off stump. Some of them he leaves, others he cuts. He's actually cutting the ball. He doesn't
yeah,
do that in Test cricket anymore.
but which one are you talking about? The cut shots?
2014-15 series.
Right,
2014-15.
right. Look, boss, this time around when he was trying to cut, it was a very apprehensive cut shot.
Yeah, yeah,
He's not on it. He's not on top of it. So I
yeah,
think that may have been one of those things. He must have attempted the cut shot quite a lot in the nets.
yeah,
And it's not, you see, you can't be just practicing and come and play it, because if you haven't played it for that many years properly,
yeah.
you can't just bring it out in a test match. So he must have felt like it's not becoming a part of his army. I don't know what it is, man. I didn't think Virat would not go to England. Rohit, yes. I didn't think Virat would not go to England. Especially because, his two worst tours of his life
Yeah,
have just happened.
yeah,
Right? Okay, Rohit is captain, but you're part of this, bro.
yeah.
You're number 4. When New Zealand come to you and blank you 3-0,
3-0. Yes.
that's, oh my God. Every time I say that out loud, I can't believe it. I can't believe New Zealand beat us 3-0 at home. I'll never ever believe it.
Fine.
The spinners,
One more
by the
thing.
way, the batsmen get the shits on this. I get it, but the
Yeah,
spinners were rubbish. They were rubbish.
absolutely. Other than
Only
Washington
only
Sundar.
Washi had the
We,
odd good spell, and that's
yeah,
it. Otherwise, the spinners were really. So Ash had to go. Ash also must have realized it's gone, boss. Nahi nikal raha hai, yaar. It's not coming out the way it ought to.
it's not coming out.
Yeah, and Jaddu anyway. Jaddu to me has never been a spinner of the same class as Ash, right? Like I don't,
He's not.
nowhere near that sort of class, right?
Nowhere near.
So he has the wickets, but that's because he's bowled on bad pitches when he can dig it in. He's got one trick. It's rapid. It's in the middle of the pitch. Sorry, in the center line, right? It'll
Cent-
be a good length. There'll be natural variation, and
And it's over.
even at that pace, he'll get ripped from time to time. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all
that's
it
it.
is.
Yeah, yeah. See, I'll
So
give you the
he bowled
difference.
badly.
I'll
But
give you a
you
simple.
were, so he loses that series. Then he goes to Australia and he starts with 100, and that first 100 comes on the most part of that entire tour, right? Like the pitch is as
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's so that test match started a day too early because of the rain
yeah,
in
yeah.
Perth, and so day one was a write off for both sides. Both sides were gone. It's just that Bumrah bowled one of the greatest spells we've ever seen. All of Test cricket
See,
has ever seen.
yeah,
The
see,
greatest spell I've seen live. I'm not gonna.
yeah,
Maybe there are a couple more, but I'm still gonna rate that as like that. I was
yeah,
just mesmerized by that spell. I just can't put it to words to you how mesmerized I was. Man, there's also a morning, I think, in Melbourne when we were trying to fight back into the Test series. On the
yeah.
fourth morning, the
He,
way the Indian bowlers bowled was so unlucky. It was sensational bowling, truly
yeah,
sensational bowling. And
yeah,
I get what a lot of the critics say that maybe we chickened out and we should have picked another bowler because that would have been the more attacking way to go win the game. I get that. But do understand also then you're telling a team which is not scoring enough runs that you're going to have
runs.
even lesser resources on that
It's
side,
just,
right? And you're extrapolating to say that extra bowler will win you the game. You never know what,
yeah,
one Australian sticks in there and then you just have no batting power. You have no batting power.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
very
No,
difficult call for any team to make.
except
Very
Jaiswal.
difficult.
Jaiswal was the exception in that tour. So
No,
Jaiswal
no.
was the only one.
But even Jaiswal is a 43, 44 average tour, bro. It's not a tour that you look at and you go like, yes, great performances, but it's not a blowaway tour.
But it's
Uh,
a very meaningful performance because it
oh no,
shows
no,
a lot.
no. It's a continuation of the fact that we know Jaiswal's going to be a genuine. He's up there.
Yeah,
Maybe 2 seasons from now, we'll be talking about the path to greatness has begun. It's He's there. He's something special. You can see it. But greatness is a different thing. It's a
yeah,
completely different thing. So maybe
yeah,
2 seasons, 2.5 seasons, 3 seasons from now, we can see that greatness coming. Like we saw it with Kohli in 14, 15. Uh, in uh, in Adelaide, you could just see like this is another
yeah,
level there. There's another
yeah,
level. For me, really, it was 16, 16, 17 when I just felt like, wow, okay, this is something different.
yeah, yeah,
But uh, where you go through that tour, then you go to Australia, and when the going gets tough, those were some horrific dismissals, bro.
yeah, yeah. All to the slips or to the
Bro, the,
keeper,
the, the, the
literally.
two the two wide outside off of straight deliveries of Stark were just what the fuck? What the fuck is your hand doing there? There's no shot.
There's that Jaiswal, sorry, there's that Hazelwood dismissal I sent you as a photo as well. Remember, eighth
Oh,
stump outside off. My goodness. And the Aussie commentators were trying to even compensate for his weakness by calling it a ripper. What was that?
no, but it's that two dismissals I think in Melbourne that really just
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
hands were too wide and not even a shot. You're not even driving. You're doing nothing. Why are your hands there? That's finished.
Yeah,
That's when your mind is finished,
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
right? So it's a very sad way for him to quit Test cricket that way.
Yeah. But in a way, it kind of imitates art
Tendulkar's
imitates life, right?
Tendulkar's
So
2011 Australia tour, 11-12 Australia tour is highly criticized because he didn't make 100. The only Australia tour in which he didn't make 100.
no, no,
But
11-12 he made 100.
no, he didn't. That would have been the
Adelaide,
100th if he had. No,
Adelaide,
no,
Adelaide.
Tendulkar didn't. Tendulkar didn't. I'm talking about Tendulkar, bro.
Tendulkar, yeah, yeah, Tendulkar,
Right?
Tendulkar.
But he still came away with an average of 40 odd, 44, 45 on that tour.
Yeah, yeah,
And he had a couple of 90, couple of 60s at a 90. Looked
yeah,
decent. Even in England, he had a 90 that, Toffel gave him a wrong decision. Otherwise, he would have had his century that
yeah,
day.
a century,
So
yeah,
he never faded in the way in which it looked like it's all gone.
yeah, yeah.
Right? Dravid looked like it for a while. I mean, people forget this. Because Dravid had such an incredible 2011 England tour
Tour,
and the
they
West
forget
Indies
is
tour.
Australia.
What? No, no, and the West Indies tour prior to that, they forget the preceding 3 seasons. He'd actually been really, really bad.
Really bad.
He
Yeah,
had only the sporadic inning in which he would do something or the other,
absolutely.
right? So Dravid also, when Dravid in Australia realized because the amount he was getting bowled, he was like, "Boss, it's too fast for me." Suddenly, Same for Lakshman. He also got it.
Yeah,
Uh, but then none of them looked inept for a sustained period. like
Brilliant. Like
Virat. And
Kohli.
that's the shit that you cannot reconcile. That's the crap you can't reconcile.
No, no. It also brings me back to this idea in baseball also, which some people were talking about. So I'll tell it to you as well. Timing is everything in baseball, right? It's even more violent than cricket in its timing. So, you know,
It's a
Bonds,
one hit shot. It's a one hit sport. You need one hit.
one hit sport. Yeah. Bonds was saying he took his bat, Barry Bonds. I know you hate Barry Bonds, but I still respect him for the sheer brilliance his first half of his career had. His first half cannot be denied. He took his bat when he was coaching the Giants. He said, "This part is where the ball should be. If it's here, I'm not timing. If it's here, I'm not timing." What is the difference? Asked the commentator. In timing, less than zero point 0.1 seconds. Less than zero point 0.1, which means cricket might have it slightly more, but that's basically what you have lost.
Yeah,
You
but you've
lose
got more
point.
movement to do.
Yeah, yeah,
You've got more movement to do, yeah? You've got
yeah,
more
yeah.
to react
But
to. You've got to react to a bounce.
essentially, you lose that point 0.1, point 0.2, point 0.3 seconds in reaction time. You're done. You're basically done. And that's essentially what happened to Kohli as well. So Bonds was actually showing in 2003, 2004, his contact point was perfect. That's the year where he was basically getting walked all the time. But then in 2007, when he was much older, it was at the end. Timing was going off. But even then, he was hitting home runs. To just give you an example. But then there was another. Bradman actually was saying something about his timing. Bradman said he never used to practice with a cricket bat. He practiced with a stump. Why? It restricted it even further. So essentially,
No,
I don't know.
Bradman very famously used to throw a golf ball against a wall and bat with a stump.
Stump, yeah.
And
Exceptionally
and
correct.
then and then set up a ricochet, right? Like be able to
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
drive so that the ball goes
Straight
back to
right.
the wall and come back
Yeah,
and
yeah.
come back and come back.
I'm back and right.
Which, if you think about it, is ridiculous. How the fuck can you do that, man?
Yeah, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That is one. Yeah, because it's a curved surface hitting a curved
Yeah,
surface.
man. It's
Incredible
so
timing.
easy to not to like just have it deflect one. I'm not saying you did hundreds of times in one go, but do it three, four. So this is something similar to this. Maradona. There's a story Lineker used to tell. Maradona is just warming up, right? Like his famous Maradona warm up. This is like the story is about the relationship of the ball with Maradona is superior to the relationship of the ball with any other player you have ever seen. Anyone you've ever seen. His ability on the ball is higher. His ability to be able to put the ball exactly where he wants to is higher. It's just that his career had so many other outside influences that it didn't turn out to be statistically the same level as the others. But he used to what this is what he used to do. He used to go out onto the center pitch and he would boom kick it as high as he could.
Yeah,
Okay. And then immediately collect it as it's coming down without letting it bounce.
yeah.
And not collect it, but in like on the full kick it back up.
Kick it back up.
Right. And Lineker says he was able to do that 12, 13 times in a row.
Remarkable.
Right. Any other athlete, any other footballer will tell you that if they can do two,
Yeah,
like we're talking about top level footballers, if they can do two or three, that would be something special for them.
yeah,
That's how much of a class difference we're talking about. And that's
yeah, yeah.
perhaps what I mean, I look at it from Virat's
Pele.
perspective.
Actually, I
These are
have a
the
story
things that
about
have
Pele
gone
as
away,
well.
right?
Yeah,
Sorry?
yeah, I have a story about Pele also. Pele also. There's a very famous goal that he scored. It's actually caught on video. Find it if you can. I got it a long time ago. It's from the '58 World Cup. This boy is 17. He's not a man. He's 17. 3, 4 Swedish defenders come up to him. This man, header over the first defender. He
Yeah,
runs
yeah,
around
yeah.
the first
This is
defender,
a famous
touches it
goal. This is
over
a famous
the
goal.
second.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Touches it over the second one, touches it over the keeper, and then finishes it off. The ball did not hit the ground after the cross was made. This is a
Yeah,
cross, full
yeah,
steam cross. This
yeah,
man
yeah,
makes 3 touches, ball hits the ground after it's in the net.
yeah, yeah,
That's the
yeah.
level of brilliance this man could do.
Yeah, the dolphin
Uh,
goal. They call it the dolphin
Yeah,
goal.
yeah,
Because again,
yeah,
no, it's so from Kohli's perspective, man. Uh, must have been. I think the Duke ball facing the Duke ball must have had some consequences here.
Yeah,
Pronounced seam and all of that. He must have, although he would not have had Anderson again. And
yeah.
I don't know if this English bowling lineup worries me as much without Anderson Broad.
One final note on Kohli's career. I think the most apt comparison to his career is that he was a supernova. He started out as a flaming star, which Jarrod Kimber made. It's a Kimber thing, but I'm stealing it here. He absolutely exploded in a mesmeric display of vibrant color for around 4 years, and then there was nothing left. There was literally nothing left. That's for the test match batsmanship.
Yeah.
So it was such an apt comparison. I was like, yes, Jarrod, you have nailed it. Like Jarrod gets some things a little wrong, but other things he gets spot on. He really
Yeah,
does. He does his work.
I'll put it differently. To me, the Kohli experience is a fantastic experience. The whole Kohli experience, having watched his whole career, is a fantastic experience to have watched the man develop as he did. I periods of doubt which I had for him early on. By doubt, I mean only on the issue of total greatness, not on the issue of is he a good enough test or more than good
Yeah.
enough test match batsman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then those doubts disappear. In
Yeah.
14 they are heightened because of the England tour, and then they disappear over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Only then to be very visible, like to me in 19, very visible that problem is coming back,
Yeah.
and only to then be proved right that the problem was persistent.
Yeah.
Odd, it's odd. Somebody who conquers a sport like that doesn't fade. It's odd. His first 40 test matches, the average is only about 44. It's very
Yeah.
odd. And then
And
his
then
last
60.
40,
And then 60. And then
the
60 in the middle.
last 40 test matches average is only 30 odd.
30 odd.
That's 80 test matches out of 120, which are very underwhelming. You get what I mean? Which will
Yeah.
still have which will still have bright sparks to them. They'll have great innings in them. But that's not a great test match batsman stats, right? Like, it's very odd that he gets to 9,000 when you look at it that way. But he gets to it because for a fucking 5-year period, he made 5,600 runs or something at 60 something.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Almost 70.
It's amazing. Amazing. Yeah, yeah. Look, uh, I'm not going to get dragged into where does he fit amongst India's greatest batsmen.
Yeah.
Uh, I think he's up there amongst India's greatest cricketers because of his captaincy.
Absolutely.
Uh, his attitude, his presence, his aura, what he defined the game as for everyone around him, the attitude of winning,
Yeah.
trying to win as much
Yeah.
as he could, inducting fast bowlers, keeping that pool going,
Yeah.
mentoring cricketers, and a
Absolutely.
lot of that. And honestly, all I can hope for, and I really hope this happens for him, is go win that goddamn IPL and get this monkey off your back.
Yeah.
Just win it
This is
this
the
year and
season.
get
This
win
is
it
the
this
season.
year and get that monkey off your back, and then just be relaxed about it all because you've done it all.
Yeah.
You've done
Yeah.
it all.
One more
Um,
thing. One more thing. I'll actually talk about one final moment of captaincy brilliance and height he had in one of his greatest test matches. 2018 Wanderers. The pitch is so dangerous. The South Africans say we don't want to play on the damn pitch. They were like, the curator's gone mad. But Kohli is like, nope, you want to forfeit, you can forfeit. We are playing on this pitch and we are winning on this pitch. And he plays two great innings there. They're forgotten, but 50 odd, 47 odd, great innings on a rubbish pitch. Absolutely rubbish pitch.
I think that was more Rahane's test match, and then fourth innings, Shami.
Shami,
I I
yeah,
have a I have a journalist friend who was on that tour, cricket journalist
yeah,
friend, and he talks about how Kohli was at a restaurant having dinner, and people were needling him, going like, "You're 2-0 down. What do you
yeah,
do?
yeah,
What's going on?"
yeah,
And this test match, at that time, it looked like it was drifting away. This test match also drifting away.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And the Kohli fire, right? Like, he puts his, this is how he describes it, is he puts, and he just looks at you hard. He's too polite, right? Like, he's too smart, more than polite. He's too smart to make a scene. He says,
exactly.
you just wait for Shami in the fourth innings. Right? And that's what happened. And Shami before that had never been a first innings bowler. Shami at that time was a streaks bowler. When he was on a
Yeah,
hot
yeah, yeah,
streak, he'd kill you. Otherwise,
yeah,
he'd
yeah,
bowl a lot of rubbish spells.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's after that tour that the real Shami starts to emerge.
Absolutely.
The Shami who can keep that seam up all day long,
All day
and
long.
just be an unplayable bowler at times. Uh, that's how well he knew his bowlers. That's how well he knew the game for how he wanted to go and win that particular test match.
Yeah.
You know, great
I think
career. I just I'll be honest with you. I think it's a little bit unfulfilled.
yeah,
Um, it is a little bit unfulfilled as a batsman.
yeah,
Um, but that's it is what it is. You just have to accept it. You just have to accept
yeah,
it. I'm not
yeah,
going to sully his legacy based on that. Listen, uh, Wave ends with about 8,800 odd runs.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but
50
Wave had
average.
about Wave had about 2,500 runs in WSC cricket, which was
Yeah,
harder cricket than Test cricket at that time.
yeah, yeah.
So Wave was perhaps should have been the original highest run getter in Tests.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and would have been and therefore would have deservedly in that era been a greater batsman than Sunil Gavaskar because Wave was that good.
Yeah,
Uh, and Kohli had that for a bit, but then he didn't have it. He just didn't have it
yeah.
after that.
I
It's
think
very
the
sad.
best compliment comes from Viv Richards himself. He said, the first man I saw with that kind of swagger, like me, when I strode onto the field, the first man who, like, I wanted to see this guy on the
Yeah,
screen every time, it was Kohli. Kohli
yeah.
considers it the
Kohli had
greatest
the
compliment
same.
he has
Kohli had the
gotten.
same bite to him. Like I was telling you, like those other guys that we had, they were monks, man. They were they were
Yeah,
like
yeah,
students of the game. They always wanted to be students of the game. There was Lara. Lara was maybe Lara was just he was cavalier, but he wasn't that raw arrogance. Peterson had it to a degree.
yeah.
To a degree,
Peterson.
he had it to a degree, but not the Kohli like the rush with which he'd come out to combat. Right,
Yeah, yeah,
he start running at the boundary line first when the moment he stepped onto the cricket field so that he'd get the blood going through his legs. Oh yeah, he's going to be missed. He's going to be missed badly. Although the
yeah,
last 4 years, all we have done is criticize the guy. Now
yeah.
that he's going, it's a monumental break. It's a monumental shift in Indian cricket.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll name my three favorite innings from him. My three. You name your three. These are not his best. My favorite ones. Just where I loved watching him bat. 149 Edgbaston,
Yeah,
obviously.
so that's common to the both of us.
Yeah, 149. I'll say the 169 Melbourne also is very high up there. It's a brilliant innings. And obviously the 141 Adelaide. The Adelaide fourth innings is probably where
Good.
I
So we'll
saw
we'll have Edge Baston in common. The 153 he made at Centurion. This
Centurion.
was a this was a terrific innings, man.
Yeah,
And you know what I
put that
loved
in my
about
top
this
five.
innings? You know what I loved about this innings? This innings, so much of it was on the ground. He played
Yeah,
all along the ground,
yeah, yeah,
and then he got a good in jagger from Lungi Ngidi. I remember this so clearly in the second innings. And he was just so perplexed by it that what the fuck, I'm gonna win this test match. It's gone from my hands.
yeah.
Uh other than that, I'm going to add
123 Perth, probably. That
I
would be in
love
my
the
top five.
120. I love the 123 at Perth, but I'm going to do the hipster bullshit routine here and not pick a century. Uh
Yeah.
and maybe go for the 70 odd this time in South Africa.
Hmm.
That's an insane innings. His
Yeah, yeah.
hands
It
through the
was.
ball in that innings are just. Only problem is that same test match, I think Markram goes and does the craziest innings. The craziest century I've ever seen, man.
No, 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 no.
That
That
was the
was
next
the
test. That was the
74
next
is the
test.
first test. The second
Yeah,
test
yeah,
is the Markham. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Markram was unreal. Unreal that day. But that 70 odd that he made in that first test, man, the gap between him and the other batsman was just too much. It was a stunning
Yeah, yeah.
innings.
Yeah, yeah. It's
And
one of the
I want to
greatest
have
players.
one which is not 100 because I think Kohli has so many of these. There's some
Yeah,
beautiful innings that are not quite centuries. The greats always have them, which are just
yeah,
vignettes of batsmanship. And this was one of those classic vignettes of batsmanship. This, like the 70 odd at Adelaide in
yeah,
20, like the 70 odd 75 I think he made in the 21 South Africa tour that I'm talking about.
There's a
Uh,
68 in on a Turner in Chennai in the second innings. A
yes,
brilliant innings.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely fantastic innings. I know which one you're talking about. I know which
Actually,
one you're
there are
talking about.
two. The first test where they lost, there's the fourth inning 74. The second test which they won, there's the third inning 68.
Oh,
Both
the
vault
first
innings.
inning 74 when he finally gets out to a grubber, like the ball stayed low
Yeah.
on him. He's batting beautifully again.
Yeah.
But that one didn't feel have the feel of control over the conditions and control over the bowling in the way in which the innings I'm talking about. Because that 70 odd that he made in South Africa, everybody was dying on that pitch. Virat Kohli looked like I can hit you when I want to, where I want to. So I
Yep.
think that's to me, I'll take that as number three.
Fair enough. If I had
I don't
to
know why
choose
I don't
four
feel
and
like picking. This is actually odd for a guy who's made seven double hundreds. We don't feel like picking a double hundred.
the only one I'll say probably I would say which 235. The 235 will be in the top 10. It will be in the top
Oh,
10 of his.
100%. 100%. It's a
Yeah.
top innings. The 235 is a fantastic innings.
The 235 will be in his top 10. There's no doubt about that. But if I were to say my top five, there would be the 149, the 169, the 141, and the two others will be the 123 at Perth, and you were mentioning the 153 at Centurion. They'll also be there. Choose the Adelaide innings and the Melbourne innings primarily because I loved the young Virat so much. He played shots then that he doesn't do anymore. Like he swept Nathan Lyon off the middle and leg stump in that series. Just go back and watch highlights of that
No, I
series.
think it would have been very apt if bastard Dravid hadn't declared that Rawalpindi Tendulkar would have also had seven double hundreds in tests.
Yeah, yeah,
And both Kohli and Tendulkar would have been at that mark together.
yeah,
Listen, yeah, double hundreds are great, but I'll tell you sometimes what happens with double hundreds is the batsmanship is so good. They go into so much of a control zone, right? That it's a accumulation job. That it's a job where you just sort of collect the runs and make sure they're there in that sense, right? And it's not as much fun as not there's not as much jeopardy to them as the other innings are. And these innings were jeopardy innings, man. That 153 is pure jeopardy. Nobody else is scoring runs on that pitch for
yeah, yeah,
India. They did, but we
yeah.
were not going to do it. To me, aesthetically, in the big four, the big four of this generation, Virat's aesthetically sometimes stunning. Like he really was aesthetically stunning at times.
But I would
Uh,
say Williamson was probably better than
yeah.
Virat in.
So the aesthetics is Williamson,
Yeah, yeah,
a beautiful batsman, and he's a
yeah,
heck of a batsman.
yeah,
Plus, he's always got the underdog thing, right? So you always got to
yeah,
root for him.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, Root's gone. Let's see how Root goes going forward. Because Root's also his career seems to be compressed into a 5 year madness again, 6 year madness.
But it's not like his earlier career was bad. It was
No,
very
no,
good still.
nor was Virat's, but his was Root was not scoring hundreds for a long time, boss.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. But now
Root
he's
was
scoring hundreds for fun.
Root.
Now he's scoring hundreds for fun.
Now all he does is score hundreds. Like he's gone mad,
Yeah,
completely mad. And whatever you say, Root does not have an Australia record.
yeah, yeah. This is his last chance. This tour is his last chance to correct that record. If
Why?
he does it,
He's
he's
34, right?
35 this year. They're not coming back for another Australia tour with him. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, because another Australia tour will happen. What? 2 years, 3 years?
4 years. Because next Ashes will be in England. After that, the Ashes will be in Australia.
Yeah. So one sec. It used to be 4 years because they used to strictly play the Ashes every 2 years, but they're not fucking strict about that anymore. So I don't know. It may not. Plus, he's super
No, but
fit.
yeah, but the last Ashes was 2023. This Ashes is going to be 2025, 2026. Root is going to be 35. I don't see him returning for another Ashes. I don't. Not in Australia. He might.
And these Aussie bowlers are also getting on in age.
Yeah.
Might have a chance this time.
Yeah. And I don't think they'll put out the ultimate green tops for England bowlers to exploit either this time around.
Yeah, I don't think they have a choice on that. Yeah, it's not as if they were looking at Bumrah and all of this and saying, yeah, let's give them green tops. Like, who the fuck wants to give Bumrah a green top, dude?
Green
Bumrah,
top. Yeah.
he'll single handedly kill you, like he nearly did that series.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, let's just sign off on it, man. Perplexing batting career in the end. The highs are
Yeah.
incredible. Been an absolute joy to watch the whole thing unfold.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it still feels a little bit. In one sense, it feels a little under in
Yeah.
terms of the average in the runs.
Yeah.
But in another sense, in terms of the enormity of the impact, the enormity of the cricketer that he was, his impact to Test cricket per se, his
Yeah.
the larger than life, like he took over Star Sports as a channel. He finished off a channel. I mean, what else can I tell you? Like an entire channel that used to be a self-respecting organization decided to become a devotee of Virat Kohli. That's how big he is, man.
Completely.
Like they had no
Completely.
self-respect left. They're like, fuck it. They were just where is the temple of Virat? That's how big he is.
I think the lasting legacy he leaves is a comment by the IOC commissioner in Los Angeles. When they announced the Olympics in Los Angeles are going to have cricket again after 128 years, they said we want to capitalize on Virat's popularity, and that is why we are
There you
bringing
go.
back
There
cricket
you
into
go.
the Olympics.
There
And
you
this is
go.
an American who has no idea about cricket, an American
Yeah,
IOC chap.
I assure you, he has no idea about Virat either. He's been given a script, but the script can only
Yeah,
be about Virat. No, it can't be about any other cricketer. It can only be about Virat
be
Kohli.
about Virat. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's how it is. That's how
Final
it is.
note, he's a Hall of Famer. He will be a Hall of Famer. He
Yeah,
will
yeah,
be
yeah.
inaugurated
There's no
very.
doubt. There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
he- He's a
Now,
Hall of
but
Famer.
now, devil's advocate on the Hall of Famer thing. Is Sehwag a Hall of Famer?
He already is. We saw him.
Ah,
He was in the
then it's
list.
done. Because who's the greatest batsman Delhi ever produced in Test cricket?
uh,
The gap between Sehwag and Kohli is
it-
around 580 odd Test runs, 500 odd Test runs. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
in Kohli's favor,
yeah.
but an average of 3.5 in favor of Sehwag.
Sehwag.
And Sehwag was an opener,
Yeah,
right? And I know I've watched Sehwag's career more than you have. Trust me, I've watched Sehwag's
y-
career inside out.
yeah.
Okay, I will never accept that Virendra Sehwag is a better batsman than Virat Kohli. I will never accept it. I don't care
Neither will
what
I.
stat you throw.
Neither will
Huh?
I. Neither will I. Neither will
No,
I.
no, but there are things Virendra Sehwag has done in a test match.
Nobody else can. Nobody
It's
else
not
can.
that nobody else can. You have to omit them from analysis because there's just no analysis to incorporate them. Like there are three rings of nearly 300 odd, two above 300 and one nearly 300, which are
293. Yeah,
faster than run a ball. They're
yeah,
fucking mad innings. And they're against proper bowling lineups. They're not against
yeah.
shit bowling lineups. They're
And
against
he's not
proper bowling.
slogging. And he didn't slog.
No, no,
Proper
nothing.
shots.
Nowhere near a slog, bro. Nowhere near a slog. I mean, a 254 in fucking Pakistan against Akhtar and all. Of nothing. Of like I think faster than a run ball or just about a little slower
200
than run
balls.
ball.
200 balls or so.
You
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fucking mean it. So it's a closer debate than we may be talking about. But as a total complete batsman, I will never accept that Virendra Sehwag is a better batsman than Virat Kohli. I will not accept it.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
numbers though create a doubt. Okay, so if you're just a statistical nerd, you can go make your argument. I have nothing but a middle finger to show to you. I will never
Yeah.
accept that Virat Kohli is a lesser batsman than Virendra Sehwag. The numbers may speak like that from time to time. Yeah, but Viru has his, no disrespect to Viru. Viru is a
Yeah.
fucking freak. He's an
Yeah. Yeah.
absolute freak. And
Abs-
same story, by the way. Last 5 years of his career, no away
Absolutely
hundreds.
bad.
No
Terrible
away
rubbish.
hundreds, man.
Yeah, yeah,
No
yeah.
away hundreds. Till he was a good, proper West Delhi boy.
Yeah.
The best batsman in the fucking world. The motherfucking sober bastards made him into a wine drinking, champagne drinking schmuck. And it all fucking went away within a year. Okay, he moves to that fuckhole of a city at the start of 2018 and he's finished by 2019 middle.
He moves to Mumbai, right? And then
Yeah.
he moves to London. Then he
अरे
moves to
fuck
London.
लंदन यार लंदन तक तो मौत ही आ चुकी है भाई तब तक तो टेस्ट करियर ही नहीं बचा है No, he had a house there for a while.
Yeah, yeah. He has a house in Bangalore also, but that's neither here nor there. But fine. Still. But
Became a weakling, man. Became a weakling after he went.
yeah.
It's like this, yeah. He also tried to become nicer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He has. He did. He did. The Steve Smith, the Steve Smith gesture at the World Cup. Oh
No,
yeah, I
that's
remember.
that's 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 part of his natural aggressor. That's a part of him. That's a great thing about him. It's a part of it. So like the worst of it was speaking into the stump mic in South Africa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The whole nation is against us. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's just bullshit. That's not an Indian captain. Shouldn't be doing that. You can be upset, but you can't be whinging.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, it is what it is.
On a final note, we saw the good, the bad, and the ugly with Virat Kohli. So, in a sense, if you want to see Virat Kohli, the vignette of a cricketer, watch that movie, then watch the whole career of Virat, and you'll get kind of the same answer. The supernova allegory, or the analogy rather, describes him to a T. It's a Hall of Fame career. I am not sure we are going to find an immediate replacement to replace the kind of magnitude of a character, of a batsman, of a player, of a fielder
No, no, you're not going to find it. Now I'm
we are
genuinely worried.
we
When
have
we were
lost.
talking about the Gavaskar to Tendulkar to the Kohli continuity, I'm not so sure we get it so quickly now. We get
Yeah,
we get
man.
a few who are good, and that's fine.
Yeah,
You can have a team with some four, five, six good batsmen.
yeah,
But the great Colossus again, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't think
maybe.
Shubman Gill is ready to. I mean, unless Shubman Gill wants to step up because he's got the skill set.
Yeah.
Or Jaiswal. Let's see. And period of transition coming up. So we don't know who's in, who's not. Let's see.
Thank you, Virat. From an
Thank
Indian
you so much.
fan, thank you, Virat, for all the years you have entertained us on the field in Test cricket. You made us love Test cricket to a level that I certainly can speak more on this. As a youngster, I didn't find Test cricket that interesting, as most youngsters often do. But as I grew up, because of your aggression, because of your words,
Obsessive session to session watching used to happen, man. Now,
yeah,
obsessive session to session watching.
yeah. Now there's a new interest in Test cricket in India, and that's largely due to you. Thank you for your wonderful innings. Some of them have
No,
been true
that's
masterpieces.
that's a little overstated. I think the way to put it in perspective is Test cricket was doing very well for a long time, but it could have died in the 2010s. It could have died
Yes,
in the 2000. If he hadn't been
yes,
around and really pushed it and really chosen to it and taken to it the way he did, it could have died. And man, be clear, he could have easily got away. Like it has not always been kind to him, Test cricket, as we're talking about it. But the
yes.
man's love for it is real. It's genuine. It's deep rooted. A lot
Very
of
deep
respect
rooted.
for it. You have to really respect that.
Thank you so much. And good luck to all your future endeavors. If your future endeavor after retiring from ODIs is to live a quiet life with your family and be out of sight, out of mind, that's entirely your decision. Thank you for all the entertainment and thank you for being the character that you were. And thank you
Yes.
for Lloyds and all 2021. Thank you.
Yes.